Chelsea are the biggest joke in the Premier League this season. After spending over 600 million from the summer and January, they have failed to beat another relegation-bound team in Westham, dropping points from a leading position. Chelsea at this moment are not going to qualify for the UEFA Champions League. They are not among contenders for the top four. They cannot get a winning streak. They cannot get a win anywhere, at home and away. We're going to be diving into that game. Chelsea won, West Ham won. I thought Chelsea really played very well only in the first 20 minutes of the first half. The rest of the game, it was an absolute pure mediocre performance, an absolute pedestrian performance from Chelsea. And shout out to David Moyes, shout out to West Ham, because that game could have ended 2-1. That game later, there was only one team that was trying to win the game in the second half. Can you believe Chelsea did not have a shot on target in the second 45 minutes? They're a pure, absolute joke. Hit the like button. Do subscribe to the podcast as well. And in the comment box, let me know, do you think Chelsea will make it to the top four? In my opinion, they're not anywhere close. They don't have the requirements. They don't have the nerve. They don't have the drive, the heart, the fight in them, the passion, the resilience to bounce back and challenge for those top four positions. Chelsea will finish below the UEFA Champions League spots. Now, to dive into it, I thought there were a couple of very, very interesting performances, both from Chelsea and West Ham. But start off with Chelsea. Joao Felix, what a player! I wanted him at Arsenal, and one of the reasons that's why I wanted him at Arsenal, he's a game changer. He's brilliant as a player. He's got every inch to become a superstar. He's got every requirement, every prerequisite for him to become a Ballon d'Or winner. For me, he's a Ballon d'Or material. And forget all this crap of him playing at Atletico Madrid, playing at Chelsea, playing for struggling clubs. If he had signed for a club like Madrid or Barcelona, this boy would be in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or. He's a brilliant, brilliant footballer. What a goal. I mean, he gets the opportunity from Enzo Fernandez. Again, another bright spark for Chelsea today. Enzo Fernandez, very, very good game. Very composed guy, but he's playing with a lot of shit players. You look at the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, you look at the likes of Gallagher. Those players must be swept out of Chelsea. They shouldn't be playing there. They shouldn't be playing, for Chelsea at this point in time. If Chelsea want to do what you call a real rebuild, just like what clubs like Arsenal have done, the mediocre players, the mediocrity should actually be left to go out of the window. So, Joao Felix, for me, Chelsea fans, you're going to be ranting. You're going to be disappointed. There is something positive, and the bad thing with Chelsea is that the best player on the pitch today is a player on loan. He's not your player. He's not fully your player. He's a player on loan from Atletico Madrid. You don't even have an obligation or even an option to buy. So literally what that means is that you either have to pay a lot of money to convince Atletico Madrid to sell the player to you, or Atletico Madrid could also go, this summer we are actually taking him back and he's going to be reintegrated in a squad, in their squad. What a joke. That is one of the worst transfer businesses I've ever seen. Signing a player for 12 million euros on loan without an obligation to buy, without an option to buy, it just underlines Chelsea as a joke still. Now, the other bright spark for me is Benoit Badiashile. That boy. I was watching the game and I was telling my colleagues here, that guy is something. If Chelsea have made a signing that has already gotten, running right from the start, it is Benoit Badiashile. Don't talk to me about Enzo Fernandez. Don't talk to me about all these other lads. They're struggling. They're absolutely struggling. The only area where Chelsea have signed players and they're doing well, they're progressing, they're flourishing, it is their defense. Chelsea rarely do they concede a goal. And today, the goal they conceded, probably I think it's a masterclass from Jared Bowen. But you don't actually see so many chances created against that Chelsea defense. So Benoit Badiashile is the future of that Chelsea defense. So those are the two positives I think you've got to think about. And maybe Enzo Fernandez is been given man of the match. I think he's a good player, but we have not seen the epitome. We've not seen him go to the peak of his powers, just like we've seen, Benoit Benacer or Joao Felix, right? The flick on, the assist for Joao Felix, beautiful ball. I mean, it shows you what he's got in his arsenal, what he has in his, in the store, but not yet. It will take some more for me to get convinced that that Enzo Fernandez has actually started getting going for Chelsea. Brilliantly speaking, 20 minutes in, Chelsea had everything they needed to win that game. They created more chances than West Ham. They locked West Ham into their half. They locked West Ham into their penalty area, and they scored some goals that were actually ruled offside. Kai Havertz, like the jockey is, time that run, right? You have been playing in that position all season. Time your runs, because if he times that run, maybe a fraction of a second later, he just scores the goal, and it's 2-0, and Chelsea would be 2-0 up. Right? Joao Felix, I wouldn't really blame him for the first goal that was actually ruled out. I think he makes a very, very nice run. It's kind of a little bit early, and then it's ruled out, but he compensates with a nice run in behind and a very, very calm, cool finish. So Chelsea, that game doesn't give you more positives. It actually doesn't give you a lot of positives. Yeah, you had 73% ball possession in that game, 54 passes in the game, 12 shots on goal, 4 on target. Yeah, it feels like there is some chemistry, but when you look at them on the pitch, there is a lot lacking. There is a lot missing in this Chelsea team, and I won't be very, very surprised if he changes the starting 11 we saw today in the next game. I won't be very surprised if Graham Potter goes, okay, this 11 I've seen, now I want to see a different kind of 11, because he's got the likes of Fofana, who's for me a centre forward, who should be starting in front of Kai Havertz. No questions there. He should be starting in front of Kai Havertz. We've seen Madueke start, brilliant guy, very, very brilliant young lad as well. I think he should be starting ahead of Ziyech and Mikhailo Modric. What should we say about Mikhailo Modric? This is another game where he's ghosted. If this is another game where he is ghosted, you are a 100 million euro player. You're not going to need 3-4 seasons to come around. He must be a game changer. We know he's got a lot of skill, a lot of things in his arsenal, but we need to see them in action. He's ghosted. He ghosted in that game. It was Joao Felix, Enzo Fernandez, and Benoit Benacer, the 3 players that I saw trying to create a difference for Chelsea. But talking about West Ham, I think, look, we cannot give Chelsea all the credit and then don't talk about West Ham. West Ham are really, really struggling, and that's why I think Chelsea will be very, very disgusted and gutted and disappointed in themselves. You've got to beat West Ham. They're struggling. They're relegation bound. This is how the table looks like. West Ham are 15th. They have 20 points. They have 1 win in their last 5 games, drawing 3, losing 1. All right. Wolverhampton Wanderers are 16th with 20 points. Leeds United are 17th with 19, and Everton are 18th with 18 points. Bournemouth at 19th with 17 points. To put this into perspective, West Ham have played a game more than each of those teams that I've actually mentioned. It means that if Bournemouth, Everton, Leeds, and Wolves win this weekend, West Ham will be in the relegation zone after this weekend in the Premier League. So I think Chelsea have got to check themselves, right? But West Ham, great job. I think picking up 2 points from the last 2 games, but the games where they picked up those 2 points are actually very, very difficult. Chelsea coming to you, they're looking for that kind of spark. They've won 1 in the last 8. They're looking to bounce back, and I thought the way David Moyes handled that game was absolutely very, very brilliant. Now, of course, the other game at Newcastle, away from home, no one goes to Newcastle and expects 3 points. So if you got there, pick up a point, especially if you have a very, very bad run as Westham, you've actually done very well. But I think the question with Westham and what Westham fans will be looking out for is, are we looking to survive or are we looking to thrive this season? I think that's the big question right now for Westham. They played a poor Chelsea side, and I think at the back of their minds, they should have thought about going in that game confidently to win it, right? But they were the second. They were always the second in that game. So they should be happy with themselves. They will be very, very glad. I thought they really, really played very well in the second half, and they didn't give Chelsea a chance. They had a 75% passing accuracy, 27% on the ball. It still explains the West Ham of this campaign. I just don't understand what is going wrong. Many people have said Paqueta coming into the team and the integration of new signings. Maybe that could be a reason, but I'm looking at the likes of Antonio, Rice, Thomas Susek. They're not actually giving me the vibes they were giving me last campaign. So, but in this one, I'll give them credit. I'll really, really give them a lot of credit. West Ham. That's a very, very vital point. If they're going to stay up, that's a very, very vital point, because I think there are not so many teams in that relegation zone that will pick a point against Chelsea, against the big four, right? Or big six, or I don't know whether I don't know where Chelsea rank, right? But there are not so many teams that will do that. Bournemouth probably won't win this game or even pick up a point. The same with Southampton, right? So that's a very, very vital point. But they need to pull up. They need to show more urgency, more intent. They need to be more aggressive. They need to be more relentless in games. It is so sluggish. It is very boring. It looks like a team that is not even interested in playing football, and that cannot be the case. Honestly, if you're a West Ham fan, that cannot be the case. This is a perennial, Premier League team. They're always in the Premier League. They're always there. They will never go in the top 4, but they're never in the relegation zone. And David Moyes has to check his job. He needs to look over his shoulder, because this season, the performance are actually quite damning. But good result. I thought the quality of football represents what we always see in the Premier League. Good football, end to end. Of course, West Ham in the first 20 minutes did try to soak up the pressure and wait for whatever Chelsea was going to throw at them. But after getting that equalizer, they kind of felt like, okay, we can go for it. We can pick up a point. We can pick up 2 even, or even 3. I don't think you can pick up 2, but you can definitely pick up 3, right? So I think they just need to start better in games, believe in themselves. If they can get a winning run of 2-3 games, that will actually boost their confidence. I don't want to see West Ham relegated. It's one of those clubs that I never think about. West Ham relegated, Everton relegated, Aston Villa relegated. Look, Villa have been relegated before, but they're the clubs that I don't even want to hear that they've been relegated. They just make the Premier League the way we know it. They just make the Premier League the league we know the way we know it. So that is my analysis from 1-1 Chelsea West Ham at the West Ham grounds. I think Chelsea need to pull up their socks, right? Those mediocre performances are not taking them anywhere else. They have to play Arsenal. They have to play Liverpool. They have to play Manchester United again this campaign. They have to play Manchester City again. And if Manchester City, Arsenal, Man United, get this Chelsea side as bad as they are right now, it's going to be embarrassing, right? It's really, really going to be embarrassing. I trust Graham Potter. I think he's a very, very good manager, but it's one thing to be a good manager, and it's another thing, picking up good results and helping your team to, bounce back and be wherever they are supposed to be. So I'll speak to you in the next one. I think we'll be talking about the Arsenal game, post-match analysis on Courses Arsenal podcast and on the podcast as well. So hit the like button, be subscribed to the pod, and I'll speak to you right in the next one. You can follow me on Twitter, Kosi Arsenal. You can also follow me on TikTok, 90mo, and on TikTok as well, Kosi Arsenal, and Kosi Talks Football as well. So see me when I see you. Much love. Bless.